had the opportunity to talk to Director Russo a little while ago, and he said something that really stood out to me, and it's something that is extremely imperative whenever you're looking at any type of movement, any type of change. And it's that united we stand, divided we will fall. If it's not all of us a part of it, then who else will be a part of it? Who will make the change? Who will be the one to stand up and say, you know what, something has to improve, something has to be different? So I want you to turn to the person on your right and on your left and say, if not you, then who? If not you, then who? Who else is going to do it? I started my career as an active duty Marine. So I joined the Marine Corps when I was 17. I graduated high school early, and I decided that that's what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a Marine. I wanted to give it everything I had, and most people ask me, well, why did you join the Marine Corps? That's crazy. I said, because I'm crazy. I like crazy. I like things that challenge me to be outside of myself and challenge me to go to a new level in my life and in my career. You know, Dr. King said that faith is walking and taking steps without seeing the entire staircase. Sometimes you have to move forward without seeing the entire map. You may not have the entire plan, but if you know within yourself, if not me, then who? You know that you have a purpose to live up to. Nothing can stop you. No obstacle, nothing can stand in your way. I want you guys to say this. Demand. Demand. You have to demand that life produce the results that you desire. You have to demand that your community produces the results that you desire. You have to demand that every day you wake up and you push yourself to produce the results that you want. You know, I think back, and I mean, we're still in January, right? So everyone had a New Year's resolution. Raise your hand if you had a resolution. You had a goal for this year. Okay, keep your hands up. How many of you have taken steps toward that goal? Keep your hand up. If you took the steps, leave them up, okay? In the past, we're in the 20th day? The 22nd day. Okay, on the 22 days in. A couple hands went down already. Okay, now how many of you have put a 3-month plan in place? So in 90 days, you want to see some results. How many of you have done that? How many of you have knocked on some doors and made some phone calls in order to get those dreams, those goals, those desires that you wanted for this year? How many of you started eating right if you wanted to lose weight and you wanted to get fit and get right and get ready for the summer? That was my goal. I wanted to get right for the summer. Well, let me tell you something. A lot of hands went down. And that's not to call you guys to the carpet, but it's just to make you aware. You know, we start the year every year. January 1st, I'm going to change this about my life. My life is going to be so better. It's going to be different. This is my year. This is my year. I'm going to make a whole difference. I'm telling you, this year's not going to look like last year. We get to January 30th, and we're like, this year's last year. You know what? I'll try again next year. No, we can't wait till next year. Because this is your time. This is the year of dreams. So as you demand that life produce the results that you desire, you have to demand excellence of yourself. And I was actually with my coach, my speech coach in Ohio yesterday, and he said something, and I was like, whoa, I'm using that, taking it, putting it in the bank. And he said, well, you've never heard that? And I'm like, no, but just not in the context in which you used it. And so he said, he was on a call, and he said that anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of the mind. So when we focus on those things, Director Russo, you said forgiveness, which is key. When you focus on the things of the past that have hurt or that have stifled you from being able to move forward and where you want to be in life, that anger, that frustration, that flame is blowing out all of the creativity and every blessing that is coming your way. So you have to demand of yourself that you let go, not forget, but that you let go of those things that are holding you back and push yourself forward. So as I said, when I was 17, I decided to join the Marines. I was a little different. I forced my parents. This is my dad here. Say hi, Ed Haynes. He works with Congresswoman Wilson's office. And I decided, you know what? I want to do something different. I had scholarships to college, and I was in advanced placement courses. So I was pretty much done with high school when I was 16. But my mom was a safety person, and she's like, no, you need to stay here. You know, social skills. You need to be with kids your own age and do that. So I said, so I had to convince her that the Marine Corps was the right way for me to go. And I can remember one day sitting at home. How many of you know that it can take, I want you to raise your hand on this one, it can take one instant, one moment, one small thing that can change your mind. Just click, it turns the light on. A light went on, ladies and gentlemen. I saw a commercial, and there was this guy. He's climbing a cliff with no harness. And as he climbs this cliff, each hand reaching closer and closer to his greatness. And as he pulls himself up, the camera pulls back. And you see that he's in this desert, and the cliff is super high, and there's nothing supporting him. Let me tell you something. When you're facing dreams, when you're facing visions, when you're facing goals, just like Dr. King did, there's no harness. There's no safety. But this man never looked back. He never looked down. He was sure that his purpose, his why was so strong enough that how did not matter. You have to know that your why has to be strong enough that the how doesn't matter, the how it's going to be accomplished, the how you're going to be able to get the bills paid, the how you're going to stay motivated when the kids are tired and you've been out all day, the how you're going to pay Sally Mae back, the how that was a personal one, but the how you're going to be able to move yourself to the next level in your life and move your community along with you. It won't matter. So as this guy reaches the top, there's a vision, there's I want to say it's almost like an opaque image, kind of like a ghost. And it's him, but he has on his Marine Corps uniform. And it goes, the few, those willing to stand up when others want to sit down, the proud. No matter what, I'm not turning back. I'm going forward, the Marines. I was like, that's it, I'm sold. Done. Sign me up. Dad, we're going to go. I'm done. I don't want to do anything else. This was it for me. I wanted to be one of the few that would stand up. You know, Ronald Reagan said that most people go through life wondering if they made a difference, but Marines don't have that problem. We don't have that problem. And that's for all service members. That's across the board. Of course, I'm going to be a little biased. But every service member that decided to raise their hand and say, I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, every person that made that decision, every staff member in this building that made a decision to do a thankless job at times when people don't say thank you. I want to thank you for showing up for those who showed up for all of us. You understand? So I want you guys to say V, visionary. V, visionary. Dr. King was a visionary. Long before anything, before there was any blueprint of what life could be today, he saw something for our communities. He saw something for each and every one of us that a lot of people did not bother to see. They said it wasn't possible. Say this with me. It's possible. It's possible to change the world. It's the people that are crazy enough to think they can change the world that actually do. And it has nothing to do with them having the best schooling or the best education or the best background. It's the passion that's ignited within them that says, you know what, I'm not looking back, I'm not turning around. There is nothing, you know, I love Bruce Lee. How many people like Bruce Lee? Anybody watch the Bruce Lee movies? I'm one of those people. I love Bruce Lee. And he said his philosophy was to be like water. Water is something that cannot be contained. It is formless, being undefined. You can't be what other people want you to be because that's what they want and that's what society is saying. I had the opportunity while I was in the Marines to have some amazing leadership, and one of them was Master Sergeant Cardella. He was crazy. So this is why I'm going to say he was crazy. He demanded excellence. I remember one time I ran a physical fitness test, and it was still a first class, but it was a lower first class. And he made me do it again. Sometimes great or excellence isn't good enough if greatness is possible. Great, good, greatness, the greatest. When I started speaking, I didn't start to speak to change other people. I started speaking to change myself. The race that you're running, it's not against the person to your right and your left. Look to your right and your left. Let me tell you something. Stop checking for them. Start checking for you. Okay? You're looking, what is Director Russo doing? Oh, okay, Director. That's his journey. That's not your journey. The vision that was given to you and you alone, and only you can bring it to life. You know, Dennis Kimbrough said that the richest places in the world, it's not in the diamond mines in Africa or the oil in the Arabian countries. It's in the graveyard. Because most people will die with the dreams, with the visions, with the ambition, with all of the opportunities, talents, and skills that they came into this life with, because 90% of people were born original. But that 90% decided to be a copy of someone else. You're not a carbon copy. You're different. You have something special within you. You have greatness within you. You have the opportunity to shake things up. Somebody say rock the boat. Sometimes you got to rock the boat. When it's getting steady, Get on the edge and just kind of rock it a little bit and feel the waves. Courage is not the absence of fear, ladies and gentlemen. Courage is the ability to feel fear and move forward anyway. You understand? You have to move forward regardless of the obstacles that may stand in your way. Because I can tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of obstacles. It's really hard. It sucks sometimes. You got to look at bills. You have to look at family. You have to look at your health. But when you have amazing teams like this team here at the VA hospital, when you think, you know, I have a support system to help me to go to the next level. I have people I can ask the questions to get the information that I need. It's not so tough. So when I think back to the beginning of this year and I started to set some goals for myself to push myself to the next level, the first thing I decided to do was to make sure that I was only surrounded by people that were doing what I wanted to do successfully. Not people that were talking about it that had never done anything. Not commentators. I decided to shadow people that were making a difference in life every day. And I want to thank you, Director Russo. I want to thank you for the work that you do. And I want to thank you, Ms. Smith. I want to thank you for the work that you do, because what you guys don't know is, like, it just takes one. It only takes one to make a massive change and a massive difference. And for everyone that put this event together, they took the time to set it up, to pass out flyers. But the biggest thing is, I want to thank all of you. You know why? Because you showed up. You showed up. There's other people in their offices that just couldn't make the time, but you made the time. You found it important to make a change and to improve not only the diversity of this community, but also improve the knowledge and the courage. When I first started out, my coach, Les Brown, he started, and he just graduated from high school. And he to this day, he's been Emmy Award winning, and he's been to Harvard, he's done all these things, you know. And I go back to this quote that I was thinking, this is what I was getting to with Bruce Lee. He said that knowledge may gain you power, right? Knowledge may gain you power, but character will gain you respect. It's character. It's all heart from here, ladies and gentlemen. It's all heart from here. I can remember many days running. You know, I always go back to boot camp. How many people remember their boot camp experience? Raise your hand. Was it not the best time of your life? The most miserable, the most exhausting, the most insane, best time of your life. My two best friends, Christina Watson and Tracy Noel, I met them when I was in boot camp, and we've been like this ever since. Because they've seen me at a place that no one else has ever seen me. They've seen me broken down, and the Marines, you're broken down to who you were to be built up to who you can become. Everything that was I, me, it's about me, my world, gone. You can't even call yourself I. You can't say I. You have to call yourself this recruit. And you're like, why am I doing that? I don't understand. There's this whole process. And say this with me, process. The process matters. Just like baking a cake. When you're baking a cake, if you skip steps, can't you taste the difference? We live in a microwave society. Now, you can raise your hand if you want to. I'm going to go ahead, but I know there's a lot of you out there besides me. How many of you will run to the microwave before it hits the 1 second mark just to turn it off so you don't have to hear it beep? You're like, real quick, okay, boom, it's ready. Just so you don't have to hear it beep. We want everything now, but when you cook food in the microwave, doesn't it taste different than when you took the time to make it on the stove? Is it not as rich and fresh in flavor? It's just different. It's not the same taste. Let me tell you something. In life, you got to make life taste like what you want it to taste like. And that means you have to put it through a process and be okay with the process. Be okay with the ups and downs, because it's not the journey or the destination that matters. It's the road that you're taking that builds it up. I sat next to a gentleman yesterday, and he's going into ministry work. And as I sat next to this young guy, he's 21, he said, he's writing a book called Alive 5 Times. And I said, Alive 5 times? Where'd you get that? He said, I died 5 times. And he told me his story of how he had died 5 times and how life, he was not supposed to be here at birth. Life had given him an opportunity. He said, you know what? I know that I'm here for a bigger reason, because I'm still standing. You're in this room, you're still standing. You're still here. Nothing and no one can take that from you. Aspire. 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 Aspire for something more. You have the vision. You have the demand. Now, reaching and aspiring for something that wakes you up and scares the life out of you every day. Let me tell you something. When you're on the path less traveled, it is extremely scary. You have to be a visionary. You have to blaze a trail like Dr. King did. There is no roadmap. There is no book. There's no, you know the book for dummies? Software for dummies, iPhone for dummies? There is no success for dummies. It doesn't exist. It's within you. Einstein said that genius is taking something complex and making it simple. Director Russo, you were saying the complexity of the different levels of things, but you've made it simple. The simple aspect of what you're doing is people helping people. People connecting with each other, weaving together, bringing in the closeness that there once was. When you think of, I think of the time when I was growing up, so long ago, and the corner store, they knew my grandmother, and they knew our names. But now neighbors don't even know each other. It's time for us to start to get to know each other. You said there's 3,000 employees here? 3,000 employees? How many of your coworkers and your peers, for those that do work and support the veterans, how many of them do you know? In other departments, how many of them have you reached out to? Because it's a process, like I said, and we all work together. United we stand, divided we will fall. We will fall. I spoke for the Department of Juvenile Justice, and when I talked to Ms. Tarika Flakes, who is the regional director, she was saying how she was promoting a gentleman, not because he had the most time and grade or he was the best for the position, because there was other people who had more paperwork, who had more, you know, all of the good stuff, the awards and all that. But she said she was promoting him because he took accountability. And he would stand up in court for the different, if there was a case that there wasn't a probation officer for, a different JPO, he would stand up and be like, I will represent this person. He would take it on himself. It wasn't his case. He didn't have to say anything. But he stood up and did it, and she said, you know what? That says something, because other people will sit in the room and hear a judge calling for a juvenile probation officer and walk out. But this person took initiative upon themselves to stand up and answer the call. Somebody say answer the call. The phone is ringing, ladies and gentlemen. The phone is ringing, and it's waiting for you. Answer the call on your life. Answer the call to your greatness. Answer the call to the possibilities. When I talked to this young man yesterday, I said, you know, when I deal with people, they come and tell me to talk about policy and talk about this and talk about that. And I'm like, okay. But the biggest thing is, I can't sell you on yourself. You have to believe in you. You have to know that you have something special, and you have something special, and you have something special that no one else has. And you have value. You have value. Every single one of you. But the only person that can validate you is yourself. Dr. King validated himself. So what was V? What was V? Visionary. What was A? Aspire. What was D? Demand. I said I'm out of order trying to trick you guys up. Do you see that? V, visionary, veterans. D, demand, department. A, aspire, affairs. The Department of Veterans Affairs is here not only to be a support for you all, which is really wonderful, but it's here to make a difference, to blaze a trail, not just for veterans, but also for their families. Dr. King didn't just speak for himself or for his family. He spoke for a community. He spoke for a movement. All of you represent a movement. You showed up for something bigger and greater than yourself. And for that, I want to thank you. I can't express enough how much when I deal with youth or I'm dealing with younger programs and I'm trying to get them to go and there's a sense of hopelessness. But none of you are hopeless. None of you have decided that this is it. I'm throwing in the towel. You know, Muhammad Ali said he got knocked down. The commentators were like, why did you jump back up so fast, champ? Why did you jump back up so fast? He said he looked around and realized that the canvas was no place for a champion. Just because you get knocked down doesn't mean you have to stay down. So on this journey of being a visionary, demanding more for your life and for your community, and aspiring to fly high, you must demand more of yourself. Thank you.